The day before my wedding, a single message changed everything and revealed a secret I never saw coming. The message came late at night, just when I was about to sleep. My phone vibrated once on the table. I picked it up without thinking. It was from my fiancé. "My mom wants you for dinner tomorrow, before the wedding." I read it again. Then once more. Tomorrow. The day before my wedding. My chest felt tight, but I couldn't explain why. It was just dinner, I told myself. A normal thing. Still, my fingers felt cold as I put the phone down. What my fiancé didn't know was this. Tomorrow was also the day I had to go back to my old town. I hadn't planned it. It just happened. A work excuse. A sudden reason. Or maybe fate. 7 years had passed since I left that place. 7 years since I ran away from memories I didn't want to face. I had built a new life since then. A clean life. A safe life. Or so I thought. The next morning, I drove alone. The city slowly faded behind me. Tall buildings turned into open land. The road became narrow and quiet. The sky looked pale. The air felt heavy. Every mile closer made my heart beat faster. I told myself I wouldn't stop. I told myself I would just pass through. But my hands turned the steering wheel on their own. The farm appeared just like it did in my memories. Old wooden fence. Dry fields. A small house with peeling paint. Time had touched everything, except the feeling in my chest. I parked the car and sat there for a moment. My palms were sweaty. I didn't know why I had come here. I didn't know what I expected to see. Then the door opened. She stepped outside. For a second, I forgot how to breathe. She looked thinner. Tired. Her hair was tied back loosely, a few strands falling on her face. Her clothes were simple, worn from work. But it was her eyes that stopped me. They were the same. She saw me. Her body froze. The wind moved between us, carrying dust and old memories. "You," she said, barely loud enough. I got out of the car. My legs felt weak. "Hi," I replied. One small word, holding 7 years inside it. She nodded slowly, like she was trying to understand if I was real. "I didn't know you were coming back," she said. "I didn't know either," I answered honestly. Silence filled the space again. We stood a few feet apart, like strangers who once knew each other too well. I noticed the roughness of her hands, the lines on her face that weren't there before. Life hadn't been kind to her, and I wondered if I was the reason. "I should go," I said, though I didn't move. "Yes," she said. But she didn't move either. Our past sat between us, heavy and unfinished. I remembered the night I left. Her tears. The words said by others that broke us apart. The belief that she had chosen to let me go. I never asked her side. I never looked back. "Are you happy?" she asked quietly. The question hurt more than I expected. "I'm getting married tomorrow," I said instead. Her face stiffened for a moment, then she forced a small smile. "That's good," she said. "You deserve that." I wasn't sure anymore. As I turned to leave, I felt something pull at me, a feeling I couldn't name. The past wasn't as buried as I thought, and I had no idea that this place, this woman, and this single visit were about to change everything I believed about my future. She didn't tell me to leave. Instead, she turned and walked toward the house. After a few steps, she stopped and looked back. "You can sit for a minute," she said. "If you want." I followed her. We sat outside, near the small wooden table she used every day. The chair creaked when I sat down. The smell of soil and dry grass filled the air. Somewhere nearby, a bird cried once, then went quiet. She poured tea into 2 cups. Her hand shook slightly, but she tried to hide it. "So," she said, keeping her eyes on the cups, "you live in the city now?" "Yes." "With her?" "Yes." She nodded again. That forced calm in her voice hurt more than anger would have. "You left fast," she said after a pause. 7 years ago." I swallowed. "I thought you wanted me to." She looked up at me then, surprised. "Why would I want that?" "You stopped calling," I said. "You stopped answering. People said you had moved on." Her lips pressed together. She looked away, toward the fields. "They lied," she said quietly. The word lied echoed in my chest. I remembered that time too clearly. The night everything ended. How I was told she didn't care anymore. How easy it felt to believe it, because leaving was easier than fighting. I waited, she continued. 4 weeks. I thought you would come back. Or call. I felt my throat burn. I was hurt. So was I, she replied. Her voice cracked just a little. Silence returned, heavier than before. Then I heard it. A soft sound. A small laugh. It came from inside the house. My body stiffened. She noticed immediately. Her eyes flicked toward the door, then back to me. It's nothing, she said quickly. But it wasn't nothing. I saw it then, a small shoe near the door. Tiny. Worn. Definitely not hers. My heart started beating too fast. You live alone? I asked. Yes, she answered. Too fast again. Another sound came from inside. A small cough this time. She stood up suddenly. I should check, she said. I watched her walk inside, my thoughts racing. My chest felt tight, like the air was slowly leaving my body. When she came back, her face was pale. He's asleep, she said. He? I asked softly. She froze. The wind moved again, lifting dust around our feet. The world felt unreal. Who is he? I asked. Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't let them fall. She sat back down, gripping the edge of the table. I didn't plan for this, she whispered. I never wanted you to find out this way. My hands were shaking now. Find out what? She looked at me then. Really looked at me. And in her eyes, I saw fear. Not guilt. Fear. He's 7, she said slowly. 7. The number hit me like a wave. The same number of years I had been gone. My mouth opened, but no words came out. She covered her face with her hands, finally breaking. Tears slipped through her fingers. I tried to forget, she said. I tried to protect him. And myself. Protect, from me. I asked, my voice barely there. No, she cried. From the truth. My heart felt like it was tearing apart piece by piece. Everything I thought I knew about the past began to feel wrong. Nothing added up. I stood up slowly, dizzy. I need air, I said. She nodded, unable to speak. As I stepped away from the table, one thought repeated in my mind, louder with every second. Someone lied. And it wasn't her. Whatever the truth was, I knew one thing for sure. It was waiting for me at that dinner tomorrow night. The next evening, I sat at the dinner table. My fiancé's mother smiled at me from across the room, perfectly composed, unaware of the storm building inside me. The silver cutlery glinted under the chandelier, and the soft hum of polite conversation filled the air. But none of it reached me. My mind was elsewhere, back at the farm, in that quiet yard, with her and the small child I hadn't known existed. I placed my napkin on my lap, keeping my hand steady. My fiancé didn't notice the tension behind my calm smile. She believed everything was normal. That was about to change. After the first course, I spoke. Can I show you something? My fiancé blinked. What is it? I stood and reached into my bag. I pulled out a small, worn photograph. The edges were curled, faded with time. I laid it on the table. The picture was of a little boy, maybe 5 or 6. He had my eyes. The same deep brown. The same stubborn tilt of his mouth when he smiled. Who is this? My fiancé asked, trying to sound casual, but her eyes widened slightly. I looked at her mother. Do you recognize him? Her mother stiffened. Her smile froze. She glanced at my fiancé and then back at me. She opened her mouth but no words came. He's 7 now, I said quietly. And he's mine. The room went silent. The fork my fiancé was holding hovered midair. I could see the confusion, the shock, and the rising panic all at once. My fiancé's mother finally spoke, her voice strained. I don't know what you're talking about. I leaned forward slightly. Don't lie. You knew. You paid her to leave town. You told her I had moved on. You hid him from me. For 7 years. The color drained from her face. She tried to form words, but I continued. She raised him alone. You thought I wouldn't find out. You thought you could control the story. But you underestimated me. You underestimated the truth. My fiancé's hands trembled as she set her fork down. What does this mean? I looked at her calmly, though my heart was pounding. It means I can't marry into lies. I can't build my life on deceit. The person who deserves my trust, the person who's been part of my life, even when I didn't know, is already waiting for me. I watched as realization hit them both. My fiancé's mother's eyes filled with tears, not of relief, but of fear. She had thought she could manipulate the future, but the truth had a power she hadn't counted on. I turned to my fiancé, holding back the emotions threatening to spill over. I won't stay where I'm not wanted, where I'm expected to ignore the truth. I won't live a life pretending everything is fine when someone else's life has already changed mine. She tried to speak, but no words came. I stood up fully and walked toward the door. The room felt heavy, the air thick with all the secrets that had been hidden too long. Every step I took was steady, confident, even though inside I was shaking with years of longing, betrayal, and hurt. When I reached the door, I paused. I'm going home, I said softly. The only home that matters now. Outside, the night was cool. The stars shone faintly above the quiet city. I could feel freedom in the air, freedom from lies, from the past, and from the people who thought they could control my life. And for the first time in 7 years, I felt whole again. Because the boy in that photograph, the son I never knew, was mine. And she, the woman who had waited, who had suffered silently, was there too. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. The life I had thought I wanted, the wedding, the lies, none of it mattered anymore. All that mattered was the truth. And it was finally mine. The truth always finds a way to come home.